All right. All right. First off, we would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh when we do so in the name of Yahweh Shai. That's the name of the Heavenly Father, and through the Son, who the people ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right. Back for another Shabbat. Praise the Most High. All praise to the Most High. I got three topics. Right. I got three topics. One of them current events. One of them is the first fruits. And I gotta cut down the stronghold. Christians out here teaching that Christ sinned, right? And we know Christ is the unblemished Lamb according to Peter. So we got the Christ sin. We got current events dealing with AI, the banks, food shortages, etc. And then the Feast of First Fruits is a high holy day, one of the 7 high holy days, 7 weeks after the Sabbath. Plus a day, which is 7 times 7 is 49. And a day after is the 50th day, which is Pentecost or the Feast of First Fruits or the Feast of Weeks. It's called all three, right? In the scriptures, this one holiday has all three of those titles, right? And the Feast of First Fruits is actually tonight at sundown. These high holy days is basically a barbecue that we have, right? So we have these high holy days, only Israelites, right? Where we commemorate these days that the Most High Father have given us to celebrate instead of Christmas and Easter and 4th of July and all these other holy days that has nothing to do with us or our heritage, right? So the first thing I would like to get into is, did Christ sin, right? So we got Christians out here teaching that Yahweh Shai is actually a sinner when he was the unblemished lamb. But actually, give me 1 second. My bad. Give me 1 Peter 1:19. There's one in my notes, but I gotta get it. I gotta start it off like this. So this is 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. And it says, is with the precious blood of Christ, Yahushua, as of a lamb without blemish, without spot, right? So Yahushua, these lamb, and when we sacrifice, if you go to the book of Leviticus, or when you give these sacrifices, you're supposed to give of the first fruit of your flock, right? So you're not supposed to give the lamb that's limping or that's old and finna die or something of that nature. You're supposed to give the lamb without blemish, without spot, the first fruit of the flock, right? And we finna get into the first fruit. Is actually, we're gonna begin and end on it. Well, but let's get the account where Christ supposedly sinned, right? And these are Christians that's supposed to be Christ followers. That's what a Christian means. It means a follower of Christ, right? Christ means the anointed in the Greek language. But ironically, Christians don't follow Yahushua or Christ, right? Christ kept the commandments. There are followers of Christ, but they don't keep the commandments, right? So that's a red flag, right? Christ kept the Passover. He actually said at the last Passover for everybody to keep the Passover forever. Christians do not keep the Passover, but yet they're followers of Yahushua, right? So basically, they're hypocrites. This is plantation Christianity at its finest. We were taught this doctrine from the plantation from our slave owners, and we hold it to this day. And I'm talking about us as a nation, not us like on this listening on this video, right? So let's go to John chapter 8, verse 3. John chapter 8, verse 3. And everything in the New Testament usually has to be filtered through the Old Testament for you to get understanding, right? So this is John chapter 8, verse 3. And it says, and the scribes and the Pharisees brought to him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses And the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou? Right? And they said, tempting him that they might have to accuse him. But Yahushua stooped up and with it, you got feedback. Been enabled to see the transcript reading. I don't know what that means. What verse? Verse 5. And now verse 6.
Yeah.
This they say, tempting him that they might have to accuse him. But Yahushua stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he had not heard them, as though he heard them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And when they heard it, they began convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even to the last. And Yahushua was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. And when Yahushua had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are thou accusers? Have no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Yahushua said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. Then Jesus spake, this goes into another parable, and that's where it ends. So within this passage, between verses 3 and verses 11, is the passage about the woman caught in adultery, supposedly, right? And they bring them to Yahushua. Now I want to focus in on a couple parts of this. Salakia, 1 second, let me bring up my notes. I want to focus on a couple things, right? Now, first, let's get the law. Let's get the law first. So go to Leviticus 20 and 10. Let's get the law. And let's see what the law says. So this is Leviticus chapter 20, verse 10. And if a man the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death, right? So the law says that if a man commits adultery with another man's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death, right? Go back to the account at John chapter 8, verse 3. All right, let's break down this stronghold first, right? The adulterer and adulteress, right? Where's the adulterer? Where's the man?
Nowhere.
They said she was caught in adultery, right? The law says the man and the woman, not just the woman, not just one party, right? You got to keep in mind, what does it say in verse 6? This they said, tempting him. They trying to get him to break the law. Because and keep in mind, he's not the king, he's not an elder in the temple, the Pharisees are. He's just a regular dude walking around, so to speak, because a white man is on his throne when he's walking around. Yahushua is the king of Israel, but King Herod is sitting in the seat, right? So Yahushua don't have the power, right? But they're trying to get him put to death. Give me I'm gonna prove it, right? Give me Matthew 26 and 59. Right? So check this out. You already know the Pharisees and Sadducees trying to set him up to get killed. This is Matthew 26 and 59. Now the chief priests and the elders and all the council sought false witnesses against Yahushua to put him to death. So it already said in an account that they were trying to tempt him. They're trying to trip this man up, right? They're using deceit, right? So they bring a woman. They say we're caught in adultery. Well, if they caught her in adultery, they would have surely caught the man, right? Where is the man? That means they didn't catch her in adultery, right? Right? Because when at the end, go back to John 8, in John chapter 8, starting at verse 3. He asked her, where are her accusers? Matter of fact, give me Deuteronomy 17:6 first. This is Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 6. It says, and at the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness, he shall not be put to death. Now go back to John chapter 8, verse 3. And Christianity is teaching us. Let's see what the witnesses are, right? John chapter 8, verse 3. Scroll down to, give me 10. Verse 10, and it says, and when Yahushua lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, woman, where are thou accusers? Have no man condemned thee? Right? Where are the 2 or 3 witnesses? Because obviously, if there was a witness, it would be an adulterer and adulteress. She can't do it by herself. Right? They wanted him to murder this woman outside of the law, because the law don't say you catch one person and then the other person ran, or we didn't. No, the Bible says what it says, right? Yahushua didn't break that law, right? They wanted him to put that woman to death, and if he would have gave the green light to put that woman to death, and he didn't stop them, right? He told them, he without saying, cast the first stone. But this is the point, right? Because Yahushua, weightier matters of the law. Let me give the perfect precept for this. Because Yahushua came with mercy and grace, and that's what he was showing the woman. But that woman had to be killed or put to death with the man that she was committing adultery with. Nowhere in the law does it says that they had the green light to put a woman to death only for adultery. Nowhere in the law does it says that's even possible, right? Adulterer and adulteress, that's plain and simple. But this is the point. This is the point that the Christians miss, and the point that the passage was proving. Give me to Matthew 23:23. So this Matthew 23:23. It says, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye have to these ye ought have done, and not to leave the others undone. So mercy is in the law, right? Mercy. That's what Yahushua came, right? We're under grace. That's mercy from the Most High. But if he would have put that woman to death, he actually would have been breaking the law, not keeping it. So I just wanted to put that out there. They out here teaching Christ broke laws. Meanwhile, he's the unblemished lamb. He did no sin. Where's Peter said the exact words? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 Peter 2:22. So now they're going against Yahushua, right? Yahushua being the unblemished lamb. This is 1 Peter 2:22. Actually, let me start at 21. For even hereunto were ye called, because Yahushua, who suffered for us, leaving us an example that we should follow his steps. That's a clear cut to Christianity, because they don't follow his steps. Who did no sin, neither was gall found in his mouth. So I think that's a very wicked stance to take, right? How did he die for your sins and he was a sinner, right? So that's a very wicked stance to take, that Christ did sin. Very wicked, right? But it gives them a reason for they because all they want to do is not change. All they want to do is not sin. right? This Bible has laws, statutes, and commandments from our God. If you claim to believe in this book, you have to do what the Most High say. And they want to believe in it. They like what Corey call them, Bible-like and atheists, right? They like the Bible. They won't put it on the floor or nothing, but they don't believe in it. They don't apply it to their life, right? They just like the thought of it, right? So that's what I believe, because that's a wicked doctrine, right? Now let's get into current events, right? Okay, I'm gonna try to send it to you so you can pull it up. I forgot to send it to you earlier, so I'm gonna send it to you now, Funky, so you can pull it up. They got this AI blurring the lines of reality, right? They finna, at this point, what they can make look real, they can frame somebody for some stuff, right? So give me 1 second. Let me send this to her so she can pull it up. We got AI, we got the financial system, right? They already started it in Nigeria. I don't know if anybody know, but in Nigeria about 6 months ago, they told the country that they were only able to withdraw $25 for the bank a week, right? And then they stopped all ATMs, and then they started confiscating the money and shredding it for the digital banking system, right? If that's something for anybody to look at, if I can send you some if you want it, but look into Nigeria and a central banking system in Nigeria, right? Because that's the first place that it's actually happening, right? But let me send this to you really quick. Talking about this AI. Let me know when you get it so you can pull it up. It's in Messenger. Click on that. And these images that we finna show y'all, these images are not real, none of them. These were created by AI, or artificial intelligence, which is the acronym for AI. Just click on the first picture with the pink, and we're finna go through them. Scroll back up to the top. These are supposedly 1975 Chicago Players Ball, but it says if you know, you know. These are artificial intelligence generated pictures. None of these are real. Scroll down. None of them. This is like GTA. This is like a game. None of these are real. None of them. Keep scrolling. Artificial intelligence. None of these are real. I ain't finna do the point out right now. I just want to make the point. So all of these images were generated by what we would call artificial intelligence on a graphics card, but which would be so this is what they do in technology. They have some chat GPU, right? They have this artificial intelligence. They're using chat GPU to hack people's stuff and scam on Cash App, right? Create hacking scripts that you don't have to type anymore, right? So this is the future of them blurring the lines of reality, making something that's not real look absolutely real, right? And with this technology, they can put you in this picture and say you were there, or put you on a crime scene and say you were there, right? So that's that. Then we got the central bank. That's all the other point I wanted to make on that. Then we got the central banking system, right? We got the central banking system that they're trying to, we got banks, and then boom. So the central banking system found an article in 2021 about the 3 banks that started it first. Well, it was 3 banks that just collapsed like in the last like 3 months. Those 3 banks were the banks that went into the central banking system first, right? So if your bank goes into that central banking system and it starts to pull your money out because that bank finna fail. You dig what I'm saying? But what they're trying to do is, and then on top of that, they're trying to create a massive uprise, right? In Chicago, they let all the kids come downtown and then act like they were rioting, right? Right? They took the Walmarts from out of Chicago. They're trying to create civil unrest, right? Because they got their ducks aligned and they're ready to unleash their whatever on the citizens, mainly on the children of Israel, Jacob's trouble. We know what's coming, right? But they're trying to create a scenario where civil unrest forces their hand, right? So this is their plan. We got that. Give me Matthew 24 and 24. Actually, give me 2 Corinthians 2 and 11 first. It's 2 Corinthians 2, chapter 2, verse 11, and it reads, yeah, it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of Satan's devices, right? We're not drunk off the wine of Babylon, right? We see what's going on, right? We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Now give me Matthew 24 and 24. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We don't know exactly what he's doing, but we got an idea. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. We got an idea. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We know he got some plan for us, but our weapons are not carnal, right? An AK-47 is not going to save us. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to save us, right? Our weapons are spiritual, not carnal, right? Matthew 24 and 24.
24 and 21.
24 and 24. With the water. So this is Matthew 24 and 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, inasmuch if it were possible that they shall deceive the very elect. So these things that in these wonders and these signs that's finna come up, that's coming from Satan, these false prophets, right? Antichrist, right? False Christ, false prophets, right? These signs and wonders that's going to get shown, they're going to be so convincing that if it was possible, it would fool the very elect. It would deceive the very elect if it was even possible. So it's going to be that good. It's going to be that convincing. It's going to be that much realistic, like, right? That you might think that it's actually real. That's why you have to be grounded in the scriptures, right? So you know what's to come. You ain't ignorant of Satan's devices, right? So I just wanted to touch on that. And then the first fruits, right? Give me Leviticus 24 and 9. So the first fruits tonight, we are in captivity. We can't celebrate, we finna read this and we can't celebrate it how we finna read it, but we still gonna do what we gotta do or what we can do, right? So this is Leviticus 24, I'm finna start at verse 9. It says, and it shall be Aaron's and his sons, and they shall eat of the holy, hold on, the Leviticus 23, Salakia. Leviticus 23 and 9. So this is Leviticus 23 and 9. And it says, and the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I will give you, and shall reap the harvest thereof. And Salakia, a side point, we are agricultural people. So, you know, the first fruits or the feast is based on agriculture, just like Pentecost, Salakia, excuse me, Passover, right? It happens in the springtime, right? You can't plant crops and none of that in the beginning of in the dead of winter, right? But Passover in that time, that's when you start your agricultural season and you start reaping stuff around first fruits, right? Some things, right? But this Slakia, let me start over. This verse 10. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I will give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priests, right? The priests are the Levites. The Levites didn't have a job, so you gave them 10% of your crops and your harvest, right? Verse 11, and he shall have a sheaf before the Lord Yahweh, and to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it, and ye shall offer that day, when ye wave the sheaf of the lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord Yahweh. The meat thereof shall be two tenth deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made with fire unto the Lord of a sweet savor, right? Because the Most High smell it. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the fourth part of a hin. And ye shall eat neither bread nor parched corn, nor green ears unto the self same day that ye have brought an offering unto your God, Yahweh. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. And 7 Sabbaths is 49 days. And if you read, we started at verse 9, this is verse 15. Go back up to verse 9. Verse 8 is what I really want. Verse 7 and 8. Verse 7 and 8 all the way up to 1 is dealing with the Passover. So the Passover is the first high holy day, right? And it's speaking of the Passover, and this is saying after the Passover, count 7 Sabbaths. Now go back down to verse 10. 7 Sabbaths, right? That's 49 days. What was I at? Verse 15. I was at verse 15. It says, and ye shall count unto you on the morrow after the Sabbath, from that day that you brought the sheaf of wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Even on the morrow after the 7 Sabbaths shall ye number 50 days. So the day after the Sabbath, if you count that day, that'll be 50 days. That's why it's called Pentecost, right? Penta means 5 or 50, right? Like a pentagon has 5 sides, right? Pentecost is 50. Centa is 100, like century, right? 100 years is a century. So Pentecost is 50 days, right? So 7 Sabbaths, 7 times 7, 49, one more day, 50, right? It says, even on the morrow after the 7 Sabbaths, ye shall number 50 days, and ye shall offer new meat offering unto the Lord Yahweh. And ye shall bring out of your habitation 2 weave loaves of 2 tenth deals, and they shall be of fine flour, and they shall be baking with leaven. So this is after the feast of unleavened bread. Now you can use leaven. You can have some yeast in there, right? Or baking powder. It shall be baking with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord Yahweh. And you shall offer bread of 7 lambs without blemish for the first year, and 1 young bullock and 2 rams. And they shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord Yahweh, their meat offering and their drink offering, even an offering made with fire of sweet savor unto the Lord. And you shall offer 1 kid of the goat for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings, right? And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering unto the Lord with the 2 lambs, and they shall be holy unto the Lord for the priest, right? I think that's it. Scroll down one more. Okay. And you shall proclaim on the self same day that it may be a holy convocation unto you. You shall do no servile work therein. It shall be unto you a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. And ye shall reap the harvest of your land, and thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field where thou reapest. So when you're collecting, this is, you're in your land, you got your farm, you got your land, right? When you harvest, you says leave the little stuff in the corner. Why though? It says, and when thou reapest thy harvest for your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest, neither shalt thou gather any gleans of the harvest. Thou shalt leave them to the poor or to the stranger. I am the Lord your God. So you leave them for your brother and for the poor, right? And the Lord spake unto Moses. Okay, that's the blowing of the trumpets, right? So with this high holy day, right, you wait 50 days after the Passover, 7 Sabbaths plus 1 more day, the day after the Sabbath, right, which is sundown tonight, right? Well, in this case, right, you will have strict rules to apply, but we're not in the land. We can't do what this, we don't even have a harvest to reap, right? But it's a spiritual meaning behind this, right? Because we present ourselves as a living sacrifice, right? And we come in with a contrite heart. So whatever we do in pureness and sincerity towards the Most High and try to get it, He accepts that from us in this point in time, right? Where did this Bible come from? Okay, okay. So give me. Okay, so I'll get that in a second. You can get Revelations 14. That's my next chapter. But my point is, right? Some people that are, they call it a big barbecue, and that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm just gonna barbecue, right? Give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. If you ain't got a barbecue, throw some meat in the oven. Do it on top. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But do something, right? Show the Most High that you made an effort, right? Because we coming back to Him with a pure and contrite heart, right? So you got to make that effort, right? And with that being said, I'm going to read Revelation 14. I'm going to read this whole chapter, right? And I'm going to end it on this. But Christ did not sin, right? Pay attention to current events, y'all. We would have drunk some water if we would have been drinking the water 3 months ago and would have got sick, and our coffee would have been bubbling and sparking, right? We need to just the Most High gave us eyes to see and ears that can hear, right? And we need to use them, right? But as far as the first fruits, it's a high holy day. You got to celebrate it. You got to observe it whichever way you can. So gird up your loins and do what you're supposed to do, right? Revelations 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood in the Mount of Zion and stood, and it's finna tie this chapter. Actually, the first fruits are mentioned because the first fruits are not only animals and not only the harvest. The first fruits are Israelites, right? In this chapter, it's gonna explain it, right? The first fruits are actually Israelites, but then it's gonna touch on the current events because Babylon ought to be destroyed, right? We ain't gonna destroy nothing, right? So don't labor us know nothing, right? We ain't doing nothing. Our weapons are spiritual. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai gonna bring down Babylon. We ain't got to do nothing but keep the law, statutes, commandments, and the faith, right? So this is Revelation chapter 14, verse 1 again. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount of Zion and stood with 144,000, having the Father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, right? That's Yahweh Shai. And the voice of great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as if it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144 and 4,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women. We know the Bible calls different doctrines women, right? And to tell you to stay with your first love, right? It says these 144,000, they got their father name written on them. It says verse 4, these are they which are not defiled with women. They are virgins. They are they which follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God, Yahweh, and the Lamb. So these Israelites, so these would be like all these newborn kids. They were born into the truth. They ain't never bowed down to white Jesus. They ain't never did none of that. They're virgins. They only serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, right? And in their mouths were found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of Yahweh, right? So those are the first fruits, and the first fruits, all the first fruits belong to Yahweh, no matter if it's the harvest, your cat, not I want to say cattle, your animals, the first fruit, or us as people, the first fruits all belongs to the Most High. The first fruits are holy, right? They're set apart. And that's what holy means. Holy means set apart. Sanctified is actually the same Hebrew word. That's how saints are become saints. They are sanctified. That's how they are saints. And that same word for saint is holy, right? The sanctified people are separate, set apart, right? Just like the book, Holy Bible, is set apart from other books, right? We are holy people. We're set apart, right? But let's keep going. Verse 6. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having an everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and unto every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. And then we know that's because Israelites are scattered between every nation, kindred, and they speak every tongue and amongst all people. Verse 7, saying with a loud voice, fear Yahweh, give glory unto him, for the honor of his judgment is come. Worship him that made heaven, earth, and the sea, and the fountains of the water. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all the nations drink of her wine, of the wrath of her fornication. And we know Babylon is this hellhole. Verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive the mark on his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture unto the cup of his indignation. Indignation means righteous hate. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. That's the lake of fire. And the smoke of their torment exceeded up forever, and they shall have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever received the mark of his names. There his patience, there is the patience. No, it says, here is the patience of the saints, and here are they that kept the commandments of God and the faith of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud. And upon the white cloud sat one like unto the Son of Man. So we got the white cloud, Yahweh on it, having on his head a golden crown, and his hand a sharp sickle. Right, so he got this sharp sickle in his hand, like a spear, right? And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice, a voice to him, and sat on a cloud. Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. Right. So now, if you go to the wheat and the tares, right, the wheat and the tares parable, Yahushua is going to he's going to do the reaping and the sowing of all. He's going to separate the people, but the angels are going to be doing the actual work, right? And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice unto him that sat on the cloud, thrust thy sickle, reap, for the time of thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. Right, I just read that. Verse 16, and he that sat on the cloud thrust his sickle in the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, because it's a temple in heaven. Everything is temple down here mimics the temple that's in heaven. And another angel came out of the temple, and that temple looks like a human body, right? Which is Yahweh, we the temple, we the body. It's all symbolic. Verse 17, and the angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, and he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. This is the exact parable of the wheat and the tares, right? And the angels thrust his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the Lord God, the great winepress of Yahweh. And the winepress was trodden without the city, right? And the blood came out the winepress, even to the horse's bridle, in the space of 1,600 furlongs. And that's a long thing. That's the last verse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a wine press, them stepping, the trot in a wine press, is people being killed, right? That's why there's blood coming out of the wine press. So Babylon must fall. We the first fruits, right? And you got to keep the first fruits, right? So with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, and I do so in the name of Yahweh Shai, Kwam Yasharala, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Israel. Y'all ain't got to repeat it like that.
Kwame Asherala.
Kwam Yasharala.
Ooh, that was dry. That was
Kwame
dry.
Yasharala.
Yeah, Kwame Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
Y'all, why y'all hit the
Kwame Asherala.
there y'all go. There y'all go. Hit the chord. Coco, you better be quiet.